Hello and welcome to another episode of the Peninsula Biz Buzz. My name is Shelley Smith. I'm here with my company, Premier Rapport, and the Chamber Liaison with the Peninsula SHRM chapter. How about you, Bob?
Good morning, Shelley. Good morning, Sarah. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm Bob McKenna. I'm the President and CEO of the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. And today we have with us Sarah Buck, who's the Public Affairs Manager for Cox, or Cox, Virginia, or Cox Communications, but it's Cox. And I'd like to just dive right in, Sarah, if you're ready.
Sure.
Okay, so Cox is a very important partner of the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce, which is one reason that we wanted to have Cox on today. And they are a very important community partner. And you talk about a business and a service that is absolutely critical to COVID-19 crisis response. I don't know what percentage of the workers are working from home right now, but they're all on Zoom conferences and other types of video teleconferences, and they need connectivity. And Cox is providing that. So Cox is one of the most critical organizations to stay at home and social distancing. They also are just a very good community partner. So Sarah, I'd like to ask you, how has COVID-19 response changed your mission, and how have you pivoted to help the community respond to this?
Well, thanks, Bob. You know, our mission has always been to keep people connected. So really that hasn't changed prior to COVID, and now that we're in the midst of it, it's all about connectivity. And our network was built for peak demand. So you mentioned so many people working from home now. You know, we're all working from home, we're all on Zoom, we're all using a lot more bandwidth during the day, to where, you know, peak times usually happened after school or after work, on the weekends, during the holidays. But now that's just shifted a little. So we've had to pivot, and we've had to take our learnings from how we operate the network during those old peak times and apply them now. So people can continue their work, and organizations can have the ability to give their employees the option to work from home and to continue business without physically having to be in an office setting. So you know, knowing that our network is built for this type of traffic, people should find that to be comforting, because it's something that we plan for and that we do all the time.
Good. It's good to plan for a crisis when there's not a crisis happening, right? Because
exactly.
when a crisis hits, it's too late.
Right.
So that's fantastic. So you mentioned peak time. Mm-hmm. So has peak time changed, or is peak time all the time now?
Well, you know, I don't see details in those numbers, but if you can just imagine, you know, education has changed. So kids are home. I've got a college student at home, and so she's 100% virtual now. My fitness dance classes that I take, I can't go into the studio to take them, and so they have totally switched over to an online platform. So people that weren't using the internet for their business before in these ways, it's putting more pressure on the network, but we're ready for it. So, you know, it's one of those things that we just have to continue to monitor, and we've got our teams working 24/7. We've got network engineers, we've got technicians, our employees, our care teams, and our tech support folks. We're all working. We're working from home, or working in a different way, but we're all supporting the network to make sure that people remain connected, because that's what's keeping us afloat right now.
Sarah, aren't you also your team doing some creative things in order to help not only your existing users that were already, you know, using Cox, but also people who are now calling you and the desperate that weren't maybe pulling the trigger to come to you? So can you talk about some of the things that you're doing with some creative packaging, I guess is my question.
So we're doing quite a few things out in the community. We did add a new tier of internet service for folks who may need it temporarily. They may need it long-term. We're hoping they'll stay long-term with us, but you know, adding a new tier of service for $19.95 a month for folks who may be a little more strapped. at this time. They might be laid off from work. They may have reduced hours. They may just need an option to get connected to the internet so their kids can do their schoolwork, or so they can have the option to work from home. We also have a program called Connect to Compete, which is near and dear to my heart. It's a program that I work very closely with, but it's a program that offers in-home internet to families that have a child in K through 12 in the household, and they just need a little bit of help. So this program is $9.95 a month, and when the crisis hit, there was really this uptick in the need to get kids connected and get them connected quickly. And Cox Communications is a family-owned company, so they treat their employees and they treat their customers like family, which is one of the reasons why I love working for them. But so they immediately stepped up and said, look, we know these kids are in this position. They might have been accessing apps or information for school on a cell phone before, and it didn't have an in-home internet connection, but we're going to go ahead and get them connected on Connect to Compete, free for 30 days. Then we extended it to 60 days. And then now that we're seeing that really this crisis is going to be hanging around for a bit, and kids are going to need that connectivity through the end of the school year and potentially into early summer. We just announced on Monday, which was yesterday, I guess I'm losing track of my days, right? That we're extending it to July 15th. So anyone who signed up for Connect to Compete between March 13th and May 15th will have free internet until July 15th. So
Amazing.
these are families that, may be receiving some kind of government assistance like free or reduced lunch. They may live in public housing. They may be receiving SNAP or TANF benefits. So they're folks that really, sometimes it's a matter between, I can't get internet, and but my kids need to do their schoolwork. So this is a way to help them and to bridge that divide for them.
Love that.
Okay, so now you talked about providing great service to the community, which Cox always does and continues to do. How have you transformed the way of doing business at Cox for your employees for the short term? And then how do you think that short-term transformation will impact our long-term way of doing business?
So, we've always had a work from home process. So, it's something, again, like you said, you plan for these kinds of things to happen. And luckily, we've been able to test our network and test the resources and make sure that we can do all of these things virtually. And it was here and there that we had people working from home. But then when you have to completely switch gears and have almost 100% of your workforce working from home, it's a test, right? And I think we've passed that test pretty well. We're using the technology that we have available. We know that our systems are secure. So just continuing to be proactive and preparing for those types of things to happen is really what we can do as a company. And then, of course, extending that and making sure our business customers, our residential customers, that they feel comfortable too, that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that they're protected and they're connected. So if something like this bubbles up again, that we'll be ready for it. We have on the residential side, of course, we serve customers in their homes, but we also have our business side too. So we're supporting small and medium-sized businesses. We're supporting big corporations in the Hampton Roads area. And, that's something that we take very seriously. We're working directly with our partners and our clients to make sure that they have the resources they need. We're doing everything we can to help lessen the impact on them, knowing that their doors might not be open right now. And we're providing them resources through, cloud services and the voice products that we have to, even though you can't physically be in the office, you can still access anything that you need that might be on an office desktop. So all of that virtual cloud technology is there, and it's a solution that our Cox business customers have access to. And then, of course, setting up information hubs for them, helping them connect their business with technology. We have a website called Cox Blue That's full of content. There's blogs, there's infographics, there's testimonials, lots of information to where businesses can just have a resource and feel like they can go in and get some help if they need to, if they just need to spark an idea, that's all right there.
Sarah, are there any things that you guys have been working on from an innovative standpoint that were kind of in different stages that you've thrust forward because of COVID? Any quicker changes, I guess, in the way you do business or your offerings?
I would just say that, we've just looked at our opportunity to look at our offerings in terms of speed. We know that we have different tiers of service for our customers based on their needs, but right now we're still working out in the field to push fiber deeper into neighborhoods. So that is something that was happening prior to the crisis, but our teams are still out there safely out doing the work needed to get fiber deeper into the neighborhoods so we can get those faster speeds. Our goal is to get 10 gig to the home. So this process is future-proofing our network and getting us ready to get that 10 gig in the home. So knowing that more and more folks, as we're seeing how successful maybe that this work from home process is, being able to continue to look at what we're doing and getting faster speeds to the home is something that may just be, it may need to get accelerated because, without a finite timeline for all of this, we just have to keep working and do what we do and do what we do well.
Mm-hmm. Bob? I think he might be frozen.
So Sarah, you just touched on at the end of your statement there, you touched on can you hear me now?
You're going,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you may have, or you just did touch on something that is a concern for everybody, is the uncertainty of the timeline, right? So at the Chamber, we're trying to make plans for May, June, July, into the fall, and we're saying, okay, when will people be ready to show up 500 strong and at an event? And so we're making tentative plans, but not making any firm commitments. And then we're also making plans to do stuff like this and do stuff virtually and webinars. And so it's an uncertain time. I think Cox is navigating it as well as anybody. And I thank you for being with us today. And I'm going to go over to Shelley, and then I'm going to come back to me one more time.
Okay. Is there any, are there any strategic partners that you want to talk about? Are there any different, community things? Is there a great place that we need to go to check out some of these different offerings that you talked about? Just kind of what have we missed that you need to tell us?
Sure. Well, Cox.com is a hub for anything that you need to know regarding how we're responding to COVID, how we're handling everything. You can test your speeds on Cox.com if you're a Cox customer. You can get the Cox Connects app at home on your phone, so you can check how the network is doing in your particular neighborhood. So there's lots of resources for folks if they're concerned about, am I getting the speeds I need? And we have, like I said, our teams are they're working. We have folks that are working remotely. We're a 24/7 operation. We continue to be a 24/7 operation. And so we're here. We're here and we're local. We've got folks that, are probably just down the street in your neighborhood working from home, supporting you with your Cox services, which is really exciting. I did want to mention that speaking of our neighbors, we know that a lot of our small businesses in the area have been particularly impacted, and our Cox Media team that does our advertising, it's our advertising arm, they implemented a PSA project, which is really cool. Inside Business actually covered it today, and knowing that industries like restaurants and auto dealers, for example, have been hit hard, but they're still operating, we wanted to do what we could to help them out. So we were able to create a public service announcement that provided promotional mentions for restaurants, and then we were able to partner with the Hampton Roads Auto Dealers Association to get a message out to the community that dealerships are still open, following protocols. But it's just something that we're able to do with our resources to help out our neighbors. Again, going right back to that, Cox is a family company. Our neighbors are our family. So that's just something that, a little something that we're doing to help keep things going and to help support the Hampton Roads economy. But at the end of the day, it only is, we can only do it because of our employees. And so I really think that I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to all of them. I know I'm one of them, but we've got people who are working around the clock to make sure that you're able to work from home, that businesses are able to give their employees the option to work from home, that students can continue their learning at home, and it doesn't stop. So I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you about it today.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate everything that you guys are doing in the community and again to support the chamber. Bob, back over to you for final comments.
So in closing, and I should have said this in opening, I should also mention that Sarah this Thursday would have been attending her first board meeting as a board member of the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. So Sarah, there's a July meeting, and hopefully you'll be sitting in our conference room for that meeting as a board member. And we're really looking forward to having you on the board and having Cox represented. And the last thing I'd like to say in closing is just to echo what you just said. So we talk about the healthcare workers being the heroes, and they are. And we talk about grocers being heroes, and they are. And we're talking about truckers, the employees of Cox Communications also. So thank you to all of your employees, and thank you to you for being with us today.
Yeah,
and that's
thank you.
For Peninsula Biz Buzz.
All right, everybody have a good day.
Thanks.
Okay, we're staying